episode 2 of The Spider's Parlor. I am the Spider. And this is Steven. Say hello to the good people, Steven. This week, I'm going to discuss, I guess, what I call the state of horror films, that is, currently. We're in a bit of a interesting, phenomenon right now in dealing with the horror world. What is coming out mainly are remakes, or sequels, or prequels. We've had very few lately movies that actually either come straight to the theater or straight to video that are somewhat original thought. Whilst, some of the remakes have been pretty good, none of them have yet, in my eyes, lived up or surpassed the original. Probably the closest for me is the My Bloody Valentine in 3D. I give the director all the credit in the world for making a very, very good film, who also enjoyed the 3D aspect, and I thank him for bringing that back, because I think 3D is a lost art that needs to be definitely brought back, and it looks like it will be this August. Final Destination 4 will be in 3D as well. But I give him credit for another reason. Instead of cramming down our throats nothing but these new up-and-comer teeny bopper actors, he threw in Tom Atkins. And for anyone who's a fan of horror and has a very large palette of movies under their belt, they'll know that Tom Atkins is a fantastic actor who's been in The Fog and Creepshow and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and they brought him in as a veteran actor, and he played a very cool role. And also, well, I won't spoil it for those who've seen it, but anyway, or haven't seen it, should I say. Friday the 13th came out earlier this year, and it was, more or less a relaunch of a 30-year-old franchise. Did it need it? Yes and no. I felt that Jason had got to a point where they could have, if they had got a really good writer, could have written a very good sequel that could have still retained. I think there's actually something to be said that they would have called it Friday the 13th Part 12. Because Jason X was the last of the actual Friday the 13th movies. Then you got Freddy vs. Jason, which would be Part 11. It is the 11th appearance of that character. The remake was considered the 12th part. And I guess there's a lot of people who would probably laugh at the fact, okay, Friday the 13th Part 12. And then, whatever the subtitle is. I don't think that it's necessary to hide the fact that your franchise has been around that long. Halloween is another prime example. Jamie Lee Curtis came back for H2O, Halloween H2O, which was the 7th installment. The ending of that movie, to me, gave the series a definitive end. Little did we know that she was contractually bound to appear in another one if they ever decided to do one. She did. We saw how that ended. Now, I was very, very upset with that movie for a lot of reasons. But in retrospect, I am actually quite pleased that Halloween Resurrection actually makes Rob Zombie's Halloween look like Shakespeare. The remake, I am completely appalled by. They took I know it's supposed to be a remake and it's supposed to be different, a different take on it, and I've really had a hard time separating that idea, because the original Halloween is my all-time favorite movie. It's basically the basis for my entire obsession with horror, and the film that I hope to kind of model myself after in terms of when I get into filmmaking. John Carpenter's very simple but very inventive camera work became such a great standard for all these to come. But I'm getting sidetracked. The remake of Halloween it just, Rob Zombie's two first films, House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, had a very cool retro feel, and I loved them. I love both of them very much, both of them for different reasons. But he took that same formula and applied it to Halloween, and it just doesn't work. And even though Malcolm McDowell is a very good actor and a well-respected actor by many, many, many people, replacing that role that Donald Pleasence owns for eternity is just, it's shameful and it's an abomination, because Dr. Loomis is Donald Pleasence and Donald Pleasence is Dr. Loomis. If they had to do it over, I wish they would have had a different character, just because, out of respect to Donald. I mean, maybe Donald and Malcolm were friends or something in real life, and Donald wouldn't care that he's playing him, but there's just something to be said. Plus, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and her, she understands that character more than anyone. And Scout Taylor Compton, I just don't think she's that good of an actress. And also, now this sequel's coming out, H2, in August, and I watched the trailer, and wow. I didn't think that they could top the sequel, but it just looks equally as bad. I really don't have an intention of watching it. But this year, horror so far, well, it's been, we've had Friday the 13th, and I did enjoy it. I miss Kane Hodder. For those who know me, and for those who are now watching the show, will get to know me, Kane Hodder is, I know Kane, actually. We've met on several occasions. He's really good friends with a girl I worked with at the library. And he's good friends with Keith Age, the one of the people who works for the Louisville Ghost Hunter Society. And Kane's a hell of a guy. And he was treated really badly when it came to getting the role for Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. New Line stepped all over him, and it kind of ticked me off, and it ticked a lot of the fans off. The movie still was a success, and I still enjoy the movie. I can't blame Kursinger for not, wanting to go after the role, but, nonetheless, he got it, but then he got replaced now in this one. Since we are starting all over again, I guess they wanted a clean slate. So they got Derek Mears. And, I guess Derek's pretty good. I mean, it's the only movie I've seen him in so far. In terms of Jason, I know he was in the Hills Have Eyes 2 remake, or sequel to the remake, but I digress. The best movie I've seen this year so far for horror is a straight-to-DVD movie, and it's called Laid to Rest. The killer is called Chrome Skull. Very good movie. I loved it. I thought it was very good. The acting was well. The idea of the killer is pretty neat. He uses a little camera, a little video camera, and he mounts it on his shoulder while he kills his victims with this very cool knife that's like brass knuckles with a blade attached. Very cool. I can't wait to this Friday's Sam Raimi Returns to Horror. I've been dying for this moment. Drag Me to Hell. It looks like fun. They can drag me to the movie. I look forward to seeing it. But, I'm going to start wrapping it up now. We'll do a future horror update. I'm sure there'll be plenty to come. But I wanted to say that the next installment of Spider's Parlor will have me giving a tour of my apartment, showing off some of my various belongings, just so you all can get a little more idea of who I am. I hope to have a friend or two soon on here. But in the meantime, I'll continue to update you. I did see Star Trek and Terminator this past weekend, so I'd like to talk about that in the very near future as well. Until then, Steven says we have to go now, so take care.